On my right here is the 720S, my personal favorite vehicle in our showroom. We got Corvettes, we got BMWs, we got McLarens, other McLarens, we got Rolls-Royce, we got Bentley, we got everything. So what we're looking to do is give you a compilation of the best, the baddest, and the coolest cars we have here at Faraz Auto Sales. Now, there's tons of Corvettes on the market these days, but not too many that are built just like this one. Let's dive into this thing and see why. I'm Peter from Faraz Auto Sales, and this is the 2023 Corvette Z06 Z07 Performance Package. Now, we got many, many models of Corvettes on the market. They've been around for decades now, as most people know, but then we have the Grand Sport, the Stingray, the Z06, like this Corvette is basically top of the top. Then you add the appearance package that it has, you add the carbon flash package it has, you add all of the accoutrements that come with this beast is what makes this one separate from others. Let's take a closer look at this thing. I mean, we have the Jake C8R appearance kit, which is again, all these decals from factory. You have full Z07 performance package, carbon painted flash car. It's a beautiful black flake blue. We have multiple Corvettes. We can check them out throughout the video and show you the differences of how one of these really, really stands out. This model happens to be the Targa. Also comes with a full carbon fiber roof, removable. We can take a look at that. It's in the trunk of the car later. Really cool. This one pops out with some seriously crazy features. Factory Cup 2R racing slicks. These slicks are only supposed to be utilized for, I think it's over 23 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, these just won't get proper traction on the road. Unbelievable. I think these tires for a set of four is over $13,000, $14,000. Someone can correct me if you want, but also this one has the upgraded carbon ceramic brakes, huge brake kit with the beautiful copper colored brakes. You can see the Brembo on those. These are all tied into the spec of the car. If you see this wheel in the sun, it'll blow your mind. Like, they look black here, but they just pop with the color. That's the metallic flake in this. That's what the carbon flash is, which is the appearance package. Similar to the European sports car, supercar market, we've moved into the beautiful venting on the side here, because of course this engine is in the rear of the vehicle, which is different than the older model, the C7, the C6s and such, with the huge motor in the front. This is situated in the back, which is very cool. So check this out. All carbon flash comes down on the side, the painted carbon fiber, carbon flash coming right into the back here to just shuttle all that air in right into that motor. Even the Z06 badges on the side have the carbon flash painted to match the whole design of this vehicle. Okay, let's take another look at the C8R Punisher, the Jake logo, or I guess some of the old school guys would have called it the Punisher logo. It swings throughout the whole vehicle. So you get the back graphics there, comes right down to the front of this vehicle. You can't miss this. So that was an old, I think it was in the early 2000s, one of the team racers wanted a skull placed on the vehicle, and iconically enough, it won the race that year. So that kind of kept with the Corvette's whole tie-in to the Jake skull, or the Punisher skull, as I'm sure some people call it. And as you can see, it really gives this thing a meaner look. You take this graphic off and kind of just becomes a normal vet. This really sticks out, unlike you can see here. Same body style, different vehicle. But man, this is just wicked. It's beautiful. All of this car is made from Chevrolet. None of this is done by the customer or anyone that's owned this vehicle. This is all from spec. The mufflers are insane. The 4-tip mufflers all in gloss black. Man, this thing's beautiful. Can't wait to fire this up a little bit later on and see what it sounds like. All right, guys, let's hop in this thing and see what we can find. Again, not like the usual package. You have the 1ZL, ZL2, 3ZL package, all those. That changes kind of what you get on the interior as well as the exterior. So we got Z07 performance package on the car, give her the bigger brakes, all that stuff, a little bit more different tweakage to the engine. But the interior is where this is like, just really wows you compared to the exterior. I mean, like, look at this thing. It's got full carbon interior. It's got the carbon race seats from Corvette. It's got custom build orange seat belts, which are kind of neat. I'm not sure if I would personally go with the orange to go with the red, but very, very nice. Full carbon steering wheel. This thing is just stunning. It comes also with the amenities that you wouldn't expect to have in a race car, which are things like heated, cooled seats, like Apple CarPlay, all the fancy things that some of the other race spec vehicles don't come with. which is really neat. Bose Performance Series sound, which is the highest package you can get. Let's take a look at how simple it would be to drive this thing every day or to go to the track and focus on what we're doing. It feels like you're in a fighter jet cockpit. I think we've reviewed another Corvette, but this one really kind of steps it up another level. You have your traction controls, your parking, your reverse, all this stuff's at a touch of a button here. Carbon fiber paddle shifters, which are beautiful. It's not a far touch away from your infotainment screen here. The door, again, really neat, opens with a simple electronic button press, which is a really neat feature. And then you have some more luxurious features as well, like full Alcantara roof liner, which is not happening. Like, you don't find that in the other Corvettes. That's top of the top, the highest level you can get. You still have cup holders, which is really sweet. Like, you know, have a drink and relax and, you know, take it easy. You got your connections to all of your, you know, your USB, your auxiliary, everything you need there. It's actually just a really thought out, put together cockpit for drivability and functionality as well. You got heads up display there to make it easy if you're just cruising. So yeah, aside from having a boatload of horsepower, it's still quite practical, which is cool. So the stunning dash, when you turn this thing on or put the auxiliary mode on, as we can take a look, you just, all the signals of the emblems come on here. It's beautiful, shows you the full picture of the vehicle on the dash. And it's just very, very, very impressive from Corvette. Now, before we start this up, we want to touch more about the engine on this thing, because there's just a lot more to go through than there is on the regular Vette. This is nowhere near the same platform, same motor that Corvette's seen for quite a long time, the 6.2 liters, which is still used in the Escalade, still used in the other platforms of the Corvette. But this motor here, underneath this massive trunk, is a 5.5 liter V8 motor, very different. And I wanted to touch on the motor first, because when you hear how this thing sounds when it starts, this doesn't resemble your normal Corvette. This sounds almost more like an exotic. Sounds kind of like a Ferrari. You know, it sounds almost, it's just very different than what you're used to. And it's kind of refreshingly different, because as old as the Corvette has been and as nostalgic as the same motor's been utilized, a change sometimes brings some more opportunity. So I think we're gonna maybe see in the new ZR1, I think it's the ZR1, that we'll have a supercharged version of this motor, which would be really, really cool. So instead of the convertible version of this vehicle, we have the Targa version removable roof, but this removable roof is fully carbon fiber. Look at this. And it is also super lightweight. So one person can very easily put this thing on and off. And it has the, look at that, the full Alcantara roof liner to go with the rest of the vehicle. I'll show you how this goes right now. So you simply got to carry it over, flap the rear view mirrors down, or the side mirrors down. And this roof is so light that it's not hard to line up on your own. So then once you do that, you can follow me going into the car. Let's take a look at this. It's actually kind of got these old school mechanisms that match the way the old versions were too. See, it's got these old mechanisms that they kind of, all the other Corvette Targas have the same release, which is nice. So if you had one before, you'll know how to use it again. It's not a hard learning curve. The back of this roof slides underneath where a clasp goes. The fronts, you kind of got to jimmy around, and then you crank them down, and that's basically it. Got a small latch at the back to get it undone after, and you just follow the process in reverse. Super simple. To tie in with the race version of this, the Targa roof is substantially lighter than the full convertible roof. Also with the upgraded carbon spec of this roof, because I believe you can also get them with a glass roof, which isn't technically a glass. It's more like a plexiglass, again, for weight. So take this thing back off and pop it in the rear, and we'll go from there. All right, now that we talked about this really cool new motor that Corvette has, let's go start it up. You got to hear this thing. All right, so now that we get this thing fired up, we can take a little bit of a closer look at the infotainment system, everything else. So when you're toggling through with your thumb here, you can see, you know, you have your trip computer. It shows you your speed, your fuel economy, performance. You got launch control through the performance toggle mode. You can just sweep down and see all the things you have, lap timers. You have your G-force meters. Again, your launch control once it's in a different mode. That's one of my favorite things, is they've changed the area right underneath this little leather mode area that you can see, it says mode right there. You can toggle through by spinning this switch, and you're gonna see all the different modes that you can enter into. This one's My Mode, allows you to adjust, you know, your engine sound, brake feel, suspension, steering, the whole deal. But then you have all the other factory modes that are programmed into this vehicle. Change the stiffening, the suspension, change your steering around. So tour mode, you have sport mode, so you can hear the exhaust open up even more, the valved exhaust. And then I think you have track mode, which probably is restricted to track use only, which is really cool. And yeah, so that's how you can individualize everything in your vehicle. You have your apps, shows you your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. It's also got your safety features, blind spot, park assist, traffic alert. I know the cameras in these are very cool. So you have a rear camera. Once you switch into drive with the drive here, it should flip itself to your 360 view, also rear view camera here as well. And I know I've been in some Camaros, some other cars where visibility is very, very restricted. This is pretty nice, very, very cool. Now this 5.5 liter V8 naturally aspirated puts out 670 horsepower. That's with the Z07 performance package. The Aero kit gives this thing over 700 pounds of downforce on the vehicle, and that Targa roof that we talked about earlier reduces this thing's weight by almost 100 pounds. All right, guys, today we're taking a look at a British version of the most Canadian British vehicle you can get. This is the McLaren 570S Spider, one of 5 Canadian commissioned builds. So this is specifically a Canadian super limited release vehicle. All the touches on it are totally different than a 570 you might have seen before. They look like a Spider, but once you get up close and pay attention to what's going on, we'll see all the differences that come to life on this car. Now, you might notice all this beautiful red accented, I guess, additions to the vehicle. This isn't just red paint or red wrap. This is red carbon fiber done by McLaren for the specific edition vehicle. Beautiful pinstripe painted right into the carbon fiber, which is really, really, really special. This is a special silica white, also a MSO color, which is done specifically for custom orders McLaren. And we're gonna dive a little bit deeper in as we work our way around this car. Take a look. This build does have the 10-spoke lightweight forged wheel with the carbon ceramic brakes, which are beautiful. But what we're really focusing today on is all of these beautiful little details that have been built in here. Look at this Canadian flag that's painted, the little maple leaf painted right into the carbon fiber side skirt. You're gonna see this theme carry on as we move all the way down the car. Red carbon fiber mirrors, and it just keeps going back from here. Now let's open up one of the butterfly doors to give you a better scope on how much red carbon has been built into this car. Look at this. It's just dazzling how cool that is, eh? It just matches the bottom side skirt, the mirror, the side insert of that door. Lightweight edition, so still a beautiful race spec. When it comes to that, it's not just a visual package, but man, is this ever neat. Come on and move your way back through this end. As we get a little peek through the Spider roof here, the convertible roof, you can even see all this beautiful red Alcantara that we'll take a look at later on when we move to the center of the car. We work our way back here, and of course you got the bigger stance of that rear tire versus the front tire, which is neat. And you follow your way all the way around to the entire engine cover, tonneau cover is red carbon. There's that Canada flag, maple leaf that's been painted into the back of this car. Again, this is paint, this is not wrap. This is not somebody that tried to put something together, you know, with a wrap and gloss over it. This is done by McLaren in a specific way. See, as the rear, you can't even unsee this if you wanted to. Everything is just red, screams in your face. And when you see this in the sunlight, it's just unbelievable. Now that beautiful pinstripe that's painted in stays around all the way. And it really helps kind of bring this to light when you are looking at this car and you lose some of the curvature of it, you know, the shadows or whatever else. This striping really does pop this thing. Gives you the depth of how big the rear is, how amazing it is to mold carbon in such a fantastic way. Take a look at the interior. All right, let's hop in and take a look and see how this thing, limited edition, treats us on this 570S. You still have all the same luxuries of your usual 570S, but this not only was a super limited edition build, it also was done really tastefully. So you got a lot of upgrades from factory 570S or from baseline 570S. Full carbon fiber steering wheel, paddle shifters. You got the lifting, front end lifting system. You have all the carbon interior. You have the upgraded Bowers & Wilkins premium sound system, which is fantastic. Another very expensive addition.
Alcantara and the leather seat combos with all red stitching. Everything is tied into the theme of this Canadian vehicle. The most main spectacle you're looking at in here is this gorgeous Alcantara red steering wheel with the little white notch in the center. It's just a beautiful, very Canadian homage style addition to this. Now, if you're buying this and you're second guessing that this is a limited edition vehicle, what you really got to notice in here is, of course, it says 1 of 5 builds, 570S, Canada Commission, and then the build date on it. So there is your certification factor right there, letting you know that this, you are driving or you are owning a very, very limited piece of McLaren. This model's equipped with the 3.8 liter twin turbo V8. This thing has just shy of 565 horsepower. It's a monster.
Hey guys, Peter here again at Faraz Auto Sales with a very special 2018 full individual ultimate package M4. This is such a cool color, such a cool combo of carbon, of just ticking every box from the BMW options. Let's dive into this baby, take a look. All right, well, let's start with the M4 front end of this thing. This is, again, every M4, every BMW guy's dream as far as I'm concerned. I think this individual speed yellow has to be one of the nicest colors that BMW has to offer. It is an individual color. We're gonna show you that later on under the hood where it's plaqued and stamped. And once this car is built and you tick all the boxes, it becomes the ultimate package. So you have, again, that includes a full carbon race spec on the exterior. So that's gonna cover the roof, the side mirrors, the front diffuser, rear diffuser, even the exhaust has carbon on it. We're gonna take a look at this whole thing and dive through this car today. Now, as you just come around the side of this vehicle, you get met with these, of course, the very, very signature competition wheel. The BMW comp wheels are gorgeous like this. It's kind of got this brushed aluminum look to it, the outside finish of that with the black accent on the inside of it. It's just such a cool looking wheel that comes on all of the M4, M3 competition spec vehicles or the ultimate spec vehicles. And then of course you have your M Sport brakes that come on this, and the M Performance brakes stop really well in this car. And it just ties into the whole look of the BMW M4. Let's move on down. Now you can't miss, as you're working down the side of this vehicle, of course, the carbon fiber mirrors on this thing. And then when your eyes move to the left before you're gonna get into this car, you got carbon fiber roof. So the whole point of that competition package, the ultimate package, is to reduce the weight of this vehicle to make it look just totally more different, way more aggressive looking. And then you got your side skirts that come on this thing that are beautiful too. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you can also maybe opt for maybe an aftermarket thing to get the carbon fiber side skirt on that, but I know that part of this factory modification upgrades are this carbon fiber rear spoiler, which are beautiful. And then of course, we're gonna work on right here in the back of this and check out the rear diffuser I was talking about earlier, also carbon fiber. And then the M Sport Performance exhaust sounds so much different than the factory, the regular exhaust that would come on an M4. So we're gonna start this car up and hear what it sounds like. It sounds just gorgeous. Even got its own plaquing of M Sport, M Performance on the bottom of the exhaust, which is really neat. We'll get a shot of that a little bit later on. All right, now once we hop in and take a look at the interior in this M4 competition ultimate package, we can take a look at all the different amenities that this thing has. So once you, again, are clicking all the boxes on the order, the build sheet, when you're getting one of these built, you get basically everything. You get a slightly different seat, which is the race seat that has a cavity here that goes right through. You see my hand go through after. We'll take a look at that. But there's a lightweight aspect to that seat as well versus the regular seat, right? But when we get in here, we get the carbon fiber interior trim, which you can see. You get the full extended leather, which is all the leather wrap dash, which comes with the beautiful stitching. Otherwise, this would be kind of like a plastic or just a regular plastic color there. You get all of the upgrades on the nav system. You get the 360 camera system that comes with that. You get the upgraded sound system, Harman Kardon, and then everything else that comes on the interior of that as well. So that comes with all the different modules for adjusting your shocks, your steering, your everything. The sport modes is all right at a touch of a button right here, which is cool. So this car just it has basically everything you'd ever want in an M4. Every option that you can get basically. So I also love about this car is the beautiful stitching, the simplicities that make it look so cool. Is the M the M colors through the steering wheel. The stitch you can see there is beautiful. Paddle shifters right at your hands, right at your, so when you're driving, you feel that real race spec feel. And then also on the Ultimate package, you get the full driver's assistance as well, that's an upgraded option. So you got your blind spot, your frontal collision warning, pedestrian warning, things like lane departure warning. So those are all really handy to have as well. When you're driving a sports car, you still have some things that a lot of other sports cars don't come with. All right, let's start up this M Performance exhaust and see what it sounds like. All right, now let's take a look at what powers the BMW M4 Ultimate package. It's a beautiful 6-cylinder, 3-liter turbocharged motor making well over 400 horsepower. It's just such a beautiful, compact, gorgeous motor. Like I said earlier, some of the big V10s, V12s in sports cars we're used to have those big, wild, huge motors, huge engine bays. This one, BMW still makes it look very mean, very aggressive, but neat and tidy as well. And of course, if you're ever wondering about individual colors on your car or what your car number is called, individual colors are always plaqued on the inside of the engine bay by BMW. This one is done in the traditional German of Fueller Titan Silber. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but anyway, that would be the speed yellow that we're talking about today, which this car is finished in. All right, guys, I don't know if you remember last time we talked about the Ferrari 488, which was the evolution of the 458. And now what comes after 488 is Ferrari F8. This is 2022 Ferrari F8 Spider. Beautiful car. We're gonna go through this thing and take a look. I'm Peter. This is Faraz Auto Sales. Let's check this thing out. Now, this F8 is, I guess you would be comparison to your lineup in the McLaren Artura level, the Lamborghini Huracan level. So kind of like your entry-level Ferrari, which is hard to say, doesn't really make any sense. Entry-level supercar doesn't really add up. But this is still, I guess what you would consider is the lineup that you're gonna start at with Ferrari, even though this thing is far from ordinary or far from a regular supercar. We're gonna dive into this thing a little bit more. First, you're gonna notice this color. I mean, you're probably not gonna see this in many other spots. This is what Ferrari would call a paint to sample or a paint to match, which is kind of like a custom color that's ordered from somebody that they had some color in mind. Maybe they saw something that they wanted, oh, I want my car done like that. That's what these guys can do. They can make that happen. It's actually called Azzurro California, which is a really, really neat name. That accompanied by wheels, by the interior package, all done by whatever that customer wanted at the time. We're gonna take a little bit deeper look at that in a second. Now, the front end keeps that kind of 458 look to it, which is that beautiful light that kind of streamlines up the front of the car. You have all this gorgeous venting here for a cooling system that goes through, active aero as usual. And I got the hood popped on this thing because you can see one difference between the other hoods on the older models is they didn't have this huge vent here, which is really neat. So it stays true, and you can see it as you open that hood. The vent right through. Really, really cool. And again, like we went over on some of the last videos that we saw, that the Ferrari has the plaque here. It built all the options right into the car, so you can tell you exactly what you're looking, how this person built it when they bought it. But still, it's just really cool how they did this. You got your Ferrari bag, your little Ferrari tool kit. I believe this is the Ferrari, like it's got even a tire kit or an on-the-road first aid kit on it, which is really neat. And then your color names are printed on the plaques on the inside there. Really, really cool. Let's move around the side a little bit and take a look. This is one of my personal favorite parts of this vehicle is the wheel selection that came with this thing. They're kind of like a throwback, almost like your old man style wheel. I don't want to say that, but anyway, it's just something about the silver wheels, the classic look. They're not massive, they're tasteful. They still have that beautiful Brembo brake caliper with the carbon ceramic brakes. Like, something about them just really shows like classic Ferrari styling. So, I mean, it's up to what you like. Maybe tell me in the comments if you think this thing it does it for you, or you should change the color scheme on this thing. But to me, this just looks really, really sharp. Now, one of the classic little elements about this thing is it's like ties into the wheels, kind of ties into else, is the door handles. They always seem to keep this kind of small little simple effect, right? Like the little triangular handle, similar to a Ferrari 360's handle, was very small, or similar to a 430's handle is quite small. To tie in with all this kind of classic stuff, they also throw in a bit of this current flair. I guess this guy just wanted a little bit of added flair, added style with this carbon fiber splitter for the rear air vents here. Then also, he seemed to put in a little bit of this carbon fiber into the rear engine cover as well, which is really, really sharp. Not overwhelming, but it's also still really, really sharp, really classy looking, and it doesn't kind of distract you too much. It really builds into the way the trunk looks, which is gorgeous. And the beautiful Ferrari, this logo, this has been kept the same on for years and years and years, and I'm glad they don't migrate away from that even on some of the newer models, this being a 2022. Just fantastic. And then we'll work into the back end of the car here in a second and appreciate what they did with this part of the car. So it's got this like kind of built-in rear spoiler, which is really streamlined with the car. It's just really, really sharp. Then you have, it even peaks some carbon through the bottom here. It's gonna be really hard for you to see, and then I love, they went almost back to the old school look of these rear circular lights. I know we reviewed the SF90 not too long ago, and that kind of went to that new, almost like a rectangular shape light. This, I don't know, this just spells Ferrari to me. Simplicity, really, really, really good looking car. Your titanium exhausts, I'm glad they went with that finish opposed to the black like some of the others do, because this also adds into those silver wheels that we were looking at earlier. All right, well, since this thing being another mid-engine supercar, I guess this would be the hood or the rear, and we'll take a look at the engine. You can see it's really tucked in there, similar to when we looked at the SF90. Again, not much workability if you're a mechanic or a handyman, but one of the things that we're looking at here, which is just really, I guess, this just shows you how much Ferrari thinks about something, is when even you take a look at this oil cap here, the Ferrari logo is printed on it. And unless you had a way to keep this Ferrari logo centered every time, if you're a true car guy like we are, it would drive you insane. And of course, in true Ferrari fashion, this oil cap will line up centered every single time with your F8 Spider badge, which is printed right on top of the back of the engine here, which is just a lovely touch from Ferrari. All right, let's hop into this thing and take a look at the interior. Got this gorgeous Rosso Ferrari interior, which is the colors, the red just pops, and the yellow stitching, which is really neat. One thing that I also noticed about this car, which is cool, is that it kind of does go to like the Sunday driving type feel, like, because these are not your carbon race seats. These are not your super rigid, break your back, get in and out seats. These are like the comfortable, drivable seats. But then again, when you sit in here, then you get the flair of all this, the carbon fiber driving zone, the carbon fiber shift lights and the RPM gauges and the steering wheel, carbon paddle shifters. Like, you got total race spec feel also combined with the rest of the kind of elegant feel to this car. Also, which is really cool, start this up in a second, as you can see, this is ordered with passenger display, which is really neat too. So this little screen will illuminate here, show you your RPM gauges, everything else while you're driving. Kind of neat. So we can start this thing up and see how it goes. Give her a few revs and see what it sounds like. Very quick throttle response in this car. Anyway, so once you see when we fired this thing up, you get all your bells and whistles turned on. You have your, similar to the other Ferraris, your suspension adjustment mode, your start button right here. Of course, your different modes for driving, wet, race, all that kinds of stuff, depending on what you're doing. One thing that's kind of neat is that, neat and also annoying at the same time, is you don't really have a screen anywhere, but I guess that's the essence of Ferraris. This is meant to be, again, a sports car. So your entire menu resides within this little tiny area here, which is going to be tough to see. You might probably see it from the GoPro, but everything is controlled by a menu button here, and it is actually pretty easy to work through. You got your radio, media, navigation, everything else. Yeah, so when you look at here again, you have your suspension lifter here right there, which is really neat, really accessible. So you're driving down the street and you need to go into a really steep driveway, you're seeing some speed bumps come up you're unsure of. Easy to get to, you know, on some of the McLarens and the Lambos, it's not always the easiest. You have to navigate through a menu, or even the older Ferraris have to navigate through a menu to get the lifters working. Everything's at your fingertips. You know, your reverse is down here, your auto drive, you don't feel like you wanna, you know, engage manual shifting, which you can do with these carbon paddle shifters. Yeah, just actually a really nice feeling Ferrari, really comfortable. Taking a look at this, is that passenger display, really cool. I mean, it's more of like a novelty type thing, I guess. If someone here wants to feel, You know what it's like to be in the driver's seat. Yeah, you got your little, your display screen here. Again, really, really cool. Neat little thing that they've introduced into Ferrari over the last little while now, and it just really gives it a different feel. All right, guys, well, you notice the, our mascot here. This is Sky. She's just our sweetheart. Just, if you want to come and you're a dog lover, you've got to come see this girl. She's probably the most sweetest dog ever. Anyway, just like her, very powerful. This car also. Yes, we talked about the Sunday driving abilities, the kind of like relaxed feel, yet this thing's still got a 3.9 liter twin turbo V8, boasting a ridiculous 710 horsepower. So this is not shy of being a beast in the street. But anyway, if you guys want to see this car, come on and see us. Faraz Auto Sales. Peter, come on down. And don't forget to subscribe.